Greetings, good evening, one and all, and welcome to this evening's edition of Fort Ninja's, web conversation with Zerhan leading and moderating the way. With some of our guests are quite special to us. They're the graduates from our first and second cohort from last year. While everybody was on lockdown, these guys stepped up and stepped forward to learn a little bit more about fintech. By way of introduction, Zerhan is from FWD Insurance. They just recently also launched their own startup incubator program, and I recommend all of you check that out. Fort Ninja is a cybersecurity fintech and in the space of digital identity as well. And we are running a free E-Fintech school, which happens yearly. And we are taking our registrations of interest. You can scan the QR code to get more information about it. But I think what I'll do is I'll let Zerhan introduce himself and then the panel of speakers over here. Over to you, Zerhan.
Thank you very much, Fang. But first and foremost, I must declare whatever I say and do today does not represent FWD here on a personal capacity. So I just have to read through the fine prints. But no, nevertheless, thank you very much, Fort Ninja, Jenna, and then Fang for inviting us over here.
Only 1 million.
Okay, yes.
Okay, but 1 million.
I agree. Anyway, no, without further ado, let's proceed with some of our guests, our dear guests over here, and then what I'll do is I'll go around the room and let each and every one of you introduce yourself. And perhaps as you are doing your short introduction, you could also share a little bit about your story on how did you stumble upon Fort Ninja's E-Fintech school. All right. Who shall start first? What about Michelle, since you are not on mute? No, sorry. You can give it a go.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Good evening. I'm Michelle. I'm actually have been with the banking industry for almost 20 years now. I'm currently with the Association of Banks in Malaysia, handling some of this consumer and market conduct, as well as SME related initiatives and portfolio. How I stumbled upon the E-Fintech program. Basically, I was actually scouting around for a program for a while. I've been looking for a program overseas as well, in Singapore, UK, and US. And yes, I actually literally stumbled upon E-Fintech APAC and immediately signed up for it because I actually found the program very interesting, as the subjects covered were wide-ranging.
Thank you very much, Julia. Michelle, very, very insightful and interesting. Perhaps we proceed with Amajit. I can see her volunteering by unmuting her mic. Perhaps you should share some of your journey. I think they're plentiful, but yeah.
Good evening, everyone. So I have been in the banking industry, just as Michelle talked about, 20 years. I'm probably getting close to double that, I think. I've been in the industry for started in 1982 and all the way until 2016. So I have been on both sides, being a regulator with the central bank for close to 13 years, and then spent the rest of my career in different roles in the various domestic commercial banks. And towards the end of my career, I decided that I needed a change, and I moved on into the fintech world. There was a remittance plus money changing company that was really pioneering a lot of things online. I'm not sure many of me would have heard of merchant trade. So one of the first to launch things like e-remit, online money exchange way back as early as 2012 on online remittance, followed by online money changing. And I think the breakthrough was when we launched our first prepaid card that was even a multi-currency. So I had a good opportunity to work on different aspects of it. And since I've always been very fond about banking and regulations. So when I came across the webinar that Fort Ninja had organized sometime in November on digital banking, and I heard that they were doing this E-Fintech school, I immediately signed up because I thought it'd be very good just to get a quick refresher on what's happening and what has changed in the industry. And I think it was a really great experience being able to connect all the dots within a very short period of 1 month.
Great, thank you. Yeah, we shall delve into the details of the program and then what are the interesting stuff that we have learned throughout. Now, since we started with 2 individuals from the banking industry, now we shall move to Azam as well. I think he was also a pioneer, one of the more experienced individuals in the same sector.
Yeah, hi guys. My name is Azam. I was in banking for about 16 years before leaving banking to go into well, consultancy in a sense. Basically, when I was in banking, I was doing mainly credit, loan recovery, and Islamic banking. And for the last 10 years, I basically tried to be on the other side, try to help companies find funding or business advisory in terms of strategy and stuff like even the administrative side of it. How did I get into the FinTech, into the program? I'm in the second cohort, which was in November, December. 2 of the other panelists right now, Michelle and Julia, are actually my ex-colleagues. And what happened was Michelle posted some information about E-Fintech school. So I was intrigued and I got in touch with Jenna, I think. And I think my first question was, do I need to know any IT or any coding? And she assured me that I don't, because honestly, if that's the case, I'd be totally lost. But went for the course and it was great, and it's opened a new world for me in a sense. But I think unlike a lot of people here, I'm actually not in FinTech myself right now, but I always keep an eye open, and you never know. I think you never know what opportunities may come along. Yep.
Great, thank you. And since you have volunteered Julia in your introduction, now let's move to Julia now so that it has a little bit of a progression. Now, Julia, over to you.
Thank you, Zehan. Thank you, Azam. As I have actually been in the banking industry for close to 30 years now. My age is quite close to Amarjit, I think. Just before, and I actually have been watching the FinTech space for the past 3 or 4 years or so, very curious about it until then I jump into the deeper end. I volunteered to be in the anti-money laundering working group for the global digital finance, which is in cryptocurrency. And at that time, Michelle, as Azam mentioned, she posted the FinTech advertisement on our group chat, and that really got me interested to pursue something that I have been really interested in for the past 3 to 4 years or so. And I was in the bank and I was working with compliance and all that. Right now, as it is, I am the Chief Compliance Officer of a FinTech startup. So back
Amazing.
to you,
Amazing, interesting. We also came from the same industry. Could you perhaps share a word or two, an introduction, and how did you stumble upon Fort Ninja E-Fintech School APAC? You're on mute, by the way, Valerie.
Hey, hi, good evening, everyone. Currently, I'm in the banking industry. As compared to Amarjit, Julia, Michelle, actually, my experience in the banking industry is less than 5 years. So prior to joining the banking industry, actually, I was in the legal industry. I was a lawyer by training. So all the while, I'm specializing in a quite niche area. debt capital markets, deal with all the debt related industry. Yeah, so basically how I stumbled upon this E-Fintech school is like I received a private message. I'm very fortunate to receive a private message from Jenna, the CEO of Fort Ninja, telling me about this E-Fintech school, APAC. So without hesitation, I immediately signed up because prior to joining the E-Fintech school, actually I'm also paying attention in this fintech area. Like in 2019, I have been like participated in a few fintech conferences like SC by SC, Digital Economy and Capital Market Series, just to name a few. Yeah.
Okay, very good. Now let's see. Maybe Joyce. So Joyce, it's quite interesting that you're coming from an engineering background, particularly in oil and gas. Maybe you can tell us a little bit more about that.
Hey everyone. Yep, as Wang introduced me briefly, I'm Joyce. I joined the fintech school, the second cohort, and coming from a background of chemical engineer. So I studied chemical engineering itself, but what got me into the fintech was that I was looking for something to do during the MCO or the lockdown, and I was looking around for stuff. So that's how I got into it, and I find that it's something that has been constantly changing over the past year, especially during the COVID season. Yep.
Very good. And I guess moving on to an adjacent engineering side, we got a software engineer, Liang Jie, from a Malaysian who is now based in Singapore. Maybe you can share about how you heard about this.
Yeah, hi, good evening, everyone. Yeah, I'm Liang Jie. Yeah, as I don't have the like 20 years or 15 years banking experience as those senior, but I just started my careers like about 4 years in software engineering as a software developer in brokerage house. So my first jobs was to focus on enhancing the current trading system and to understand how the capital markets works. So then after that, but I'm also very lucky that the company actually explore on the other technology as well, like blockchain, AI, and that's actually have a chance to get a little bit know a little bit of fintechs and so on. When asking about of how I get into know about the E-Fintech school, in fact, during the lockdowns, actually we have a lot more times. I have more free times to do studies, take up online courses, and also due to my job natures, I also have to research a lot of fintechs and innovative ideas, come up innovative ideas and partnership and collaboration as well. So I guess that time was because of Google algorithms send me over the E-Fintech school advertisements. So I was thinking, okay, yeah, I need fundamentals of fintech school. Fintech. So just sign up and let's see how it goes. Yeah.
Okay, very good. Zahan is back, so I'll hand the
Sorry.
mic over to him. I think
Internet issues. I'm so sorry about it.
Oh, good. The last person I think is Jean Charles from Thailand.
Okay, yeah. Speaking of algorithms, right now, perhaps you should ask John how did he stumble upon Fort Ninja, right?
On my side, it was on LinkedIn. I am linked to Paul Ark, who is one of the teacher of the first cohort and who was teaching also during the other ones. And yeah, I just saw luckily a post on where he was showing about the program starting within a month, and I was lucky to apply and get on board. So for me, it was really interesting because of course, I come from an entrepreneurship background. I'm mainly doing real estate and digital marketing, but 10 years ago, I was working in investment banking as a project manager and business analyst in a commodities trade finance. And I had been putting the fintech subject on the side for some time, and I felt like the newbie who didn't understand anything, and I had to catch on a class. And what caught my attention was that there were many teachers involved from different countries, and that the program was it was possible to follow it. Still, I'm working at the same time because the classes were likely to be in the evening or on Saturday. So yeah, I decided to join, and I've been very happy with the program so far.
Thank you, John. So last but not least, February, you're from Indonesia as well. So the algorithm must have been so powerful that it went all the way to Indonesia.
Yeah, it's so true. So hi everyone, good evening. I'm Febri from Jakarta, Indonesia. So currently I'm learning in sorry I'm so nervous now. So
your time, don't worry.
Yeah. So my experience was most of my experience was working in marketing background, and now currently just learning at home for gaining my skills. And I think I'm an avid learner, so I'm trying to learning everything and try to get something that I want to. And how I stumbled upon the Fort Ninja, I think first one of my connection on LinkedIn sent me the message to join the Fort Ninja, and then the advertisement on LinkedIn is come across on my feed. So it was interesting, and I saw, and at that time I think I just resigned from my previous job at Schneider Electric. So and I'm really looking for something new, and I know fintech, but I never deeply learning into it. So I just trying, and then when I come across to when the Fort Ninja class starting, it was so unbelievable, like kind of hard for me. Like it was like four times a week and full day on Saturdays for 1 month. It was interesting, but at the same time also hard. But it was fun because everything just new for me, and all the students are helpful, and I can get something new for myself, and I can help them as well to know about fintech world in Indonesia. That's the stories.
Very interesting. No, thank you.
Thank you, Jack.
Yeah. So perhaps let me switch the whole thing around. Now let's talk a little bit about the 4 weeks program from a non-finance perspective, right? We have Liang Jie, we have Fabri who's from marketing, we have Joyce who is from engineering. What were your expectations coming into the E-Fintech school? Were you expecting a lot of coding? Were you expecting to learn a lot of finance and regulated stuff? What was your expectation? And then feel free to just jump in, the rest of the guys. Liang Jie, perhaps you should take a go. Yeah.
Okay, sure. So my expectation is pretty simple, because the times was I'm not graduate from banking or even finance background. So in fact, my knowledge or my understandings for my most of the things are actually software engineering, software development. Yeah. So but it's actually a bit challenging for me when I need to actually come up with good ideas or innovative ideas for company, and some more it has to be fintech related. So I was thinking that maybe this I need some fundamentals, some foundations of what is finance, what kind of things that including in finance. So I guess when the first time I joined I attend the first sessions, I really surprised that fintech is covered lots. It does not only involve like banking, capital markets or brokerage, but also include like insurance, cyber securities, and regulations, reg tech as well. So so I think for me, Yes, I really learned a lot. Eventually, it actually exceed my expectation.
Interesting. And Joyce, yourself?
I think I didn't really have much expectation. My expectation it's more like for myself. It's more to understand what's actually out there in the fintech space. So fintech for me personally, previously it was just like just digital, the digital stuff in the financial space. But actually it's more to that. So that's how I kind of got to know more about it throughout the whole course itself.
Interesting. Thank you. And no, Liang Jie mentioned something about projects, right? So I'm gonna divert this over to the more experienced individuals. Azam, Amajit, Julia, Valerie, and Michelle, right? And even Jean. When you were asked to come up with a project at the school, can you tell me about those experience? And I believe everybody was expected to come up with a proposal and a pitch, and you were to pitch your project, to a panel of judges, right? Now, Amajit, perhaps you could share your experience.
Well, it was interesting because number one, you have a whole group of 7 to 8 of us, and everyone came with different ideas of what should be the project be and how we should go about it. I know in our group, we already started thinking about it. The in thing now is digital banking, so let's do a project on digital banking. And when we started looking at it, it's like an elephant, right? There's so many aspects of the digital banking. And halfway through, we decided, look, this topic appears to be very, very broad. Let's go and find something much more narrow, a project that we can just focus on. But it was a good experience because we spent the first some time learning about the subject, and everyone brought different aspects to it. But once we started to crystallize the problem statement, it became a little bit more difficult to think about what aspect of the digital banking are we now going to pitch to the judges.
Great. No, yeah, indeed,
So
digital
we thought,
banking.
okay, let's go for something that's much more practical, where we're just trying to solve a simple problem.
And that's all how it all starts, right? With a problem, and you start from there, and then you progress. Azam, no, I see you're eager, very eager, wanting to chime in as well. No, the rest, please feel free at any time. If you think there's something that interesting that you'd like to share, please do not be shy. And the the attendees, if you have questions, I think there's a way to send those questions. Direct them to all the participants over here, the interviewees over here. And yeah, Azam, sorry. No.
Sure. As part of the project, as part of the 1 month course, to graduate, you need to be part of a team that presents a pitch to the judges on I think the final week or final 1 or 2 sessions before the school ends. So you kind of get together with your you kind of form your own groups. And our group was quite interesting because we had 3, shall I call, experienced guys with over probably 60 years of banking between us, and 3 very young guys, young ladies. And you could see the dynamics were quite different in terms of the knowledge set. I mean, for me, and definitely, I didn't know a lot about the fintech side, where these ladies they really knew a lot. And of course, I think the challenge was trying to find the right idea to present. I think we were looking at factoring, we were looking at wealth management, and we ended up coming up with, I think it was some sort of open banking, where the whole idea is your asset liability position can be captured in one app. If you think about it, instead of going to 4 or 5 different apps, your Maybank, your HSBCs, and getting all your loans, your credit cards, your how much money, how much EPF, and all that. If it's all captured in one page, that'd be fantastic. But the problem is, when we looked at it, suddenly we realized, how are we going to get all the banks to come in? So these are things which are challenges, which I guess are real things. And in fact, when we presented, we were getting a lot of comments saying it would be great if it could be implemented. But again, the challenge is getting it implemented, and how does one fund it in that sense? But yeah. But the project was good. I mean, the team bonded. It helped that I was with a couple of people I already knew, And yeah, but that was basically it was after the 3 weeks or so. So by that time, we had already gathered a lot of information from the programs, which is what, 2-3 times a week, 4 if you are really into it. And I think one of the things I realized was, whilst you only need to attend, I think it was 80% of the classes, you kind of want to attend all of them because each topic is different and each topic is pretty interesting. That's what I felt from that.
Yeah, and speaking about intensity, perhaps Michelle and Julia, could you share how intense the 4 weeks leading up to the projects were?
Very intense. Actually, like Azam said, although you only need to attend 80% of it, I probably attended 110%. I mean, basically, though even those
the extra classes.
the extra classes that were not mandatory, I attended because there's just so much to learn during that time. I always share that I've always liked fintech, and that's just so vast. I think that I learned 5 years of reading in that 1 month. And,
wow, 5 years of reading in a month. That's money well spent.
Yeah, and time well spent too. Talking about the project, as I was part of the 60 years, part of the 60 years that Azam was talking about. We were in the same team, really learned a lot from the project. I thought one thing that I would like to touch on is also the first week that we were in there. There was also a debate that we were divided into teams A and B, and there was a debate that happened, and our assignment was to implement a RegTech system in a bank. So that turned out to be a very, very eye-opening one for me as well. Amajit was part of that. The two of us, together with another friend, Vijay, we are more the compliance people, and so that guided the team through the process. The presenters, really happy to share that the presenters did not have compliance background, and in the end, Team A won. I'm going to make this clear. Team A won, although the presenters were not compliant. So you can imagine, during this 1 week of brushing up,
the knowledge sharing.
The knowledge sharing, everyone gained from it.
It's not fair that Amajit and yourself are in the same team, right? Or you're on opposing teams.
We happened to be in the same team, but I believe in the other team also there were some compliance experts there.
I must complain.
There's a lawyer there too.
I must complain to the organizers.
No, I have never done compliance.
We had a few lawyers in Team B, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, okay.
At least one lawyer that was on the panel.
Interesting. And Michelle, I know.
Yeah, for me, basically, I enjoyed the pitching process very much because we have a great team from diverse background. Basically, some actually with marketing, some actually operations, and we have a AI expert as well. So that's the reason why actually we choose to do an app, fun app, which everyone agreed, to come together with the idea and work on it. And we actually went beyond the normal hours, basically to discuss, of the classes through WhatsApp or through Zoom, Google Meet and everything. So yeah, I really enjoy actually the teamwork, and also basically tapping on each other's strength to come up with a great presentation for the pitch.
All right. Now talking about wow, how diverse the curriculums were. Perhaps I'm going to direct this to Jean. Though, so since you have left, finance, quite a fair bit of time ago, and then with the course as a refresher, you said you were trying to connect the dots, right?
Yes.
How does that feel? Leaving and then coming back, and then
Everything is different. So actually it's good for me. Then we are back from something new. But I guess for the people listening to this session, if you don't know what is a robo-advisor, InsurTech, RegTech, everything like eKYC, and everything links to neobank and all these kind of new terms, I think the class is for you. And it was great for me to see that I think the part of the class that we really liked is that the teachers were really experienced in their field. They are experts. The classes were well prepared, and they were answering all our questions, and they were actually giving us, let's say, doors. They're just opening doors for us to dig in. You know, like we have to find also by ourselves which area on which we want to specialize, and try to also get more knowledge after the class. But I think the opening from the school has been great for me, because many new subjects, and even I started back to be on the field, I felt like we were all on the same page, because people on the class were from very different backgrounds. So we all had to start from a new perspective of thinking.
Great. Talking about different backgrounds, I know Joyce and February. I know how was the engagement with in the classes, like especially for the topics that you are most not familiar with. I know. How was it for yourself to to catch up, or to just even bring yourself to speed?
For me, I think to get to speed, it's because all is done virtually, right? It's all through Zoom. So we have our laptops on. So it's just a Google search way. So it's kind of on the go, whereby you're trying to pick out the keywords, and hopefully by quick Google definition, it helps you with catching up on what they are actually talking on. But along the way as well, ongoing, the chat is always filled with questions, and also more detailed questions where it helps to put into perspective and helps in your imagination on how the whole infrastructure is in the fintech industry. Yep.
February, yourself?
Yeah, as for me, I think everything is something new, as like Jim told, like all the terms that I saw was like very new. I don't even know what eKYC is, AML, like RegTech, and so on. It was hard, but by the time you learn, but sometimes at first it's like you're like kind of shocked. Oh my God, what is this? And you need to learn by yourself. Like as Joy said, looking at Google search, what is this? So you can catch up, and because they give you like a schedule, so you need before the class start, you can like looking for the some of the theories or news before the class, and oh, this is what they mean. Also, so I understand a bit like a basic first, and then I can catch up. So even though I couldn't catch up, I can ask the instructor by myself, like on LinkedIn, or just message them. So they are so welcome, and it was really actually for me it was really fun, but hard, and but keep going, and it's so fun.
Great. No, so happy that you had fun. That's the most important thing in learning. But Valerie, don't worry, I've not forgotten about you. Amongst all the 4 weeks and everything, what was the most exciting course, class, or experience that you have?
For me, actually, I enjoy attending all the classes, because this fintech school, right? The course outline has been structured in a way that it covers a very wide area of fintech. So actually, my knowledge about fintech is more on like the investment side. So that's why a lot of areas, right? Actually, I don't know about it. So then by attending all the classes, actually, I expose myself to all the new areas of fintech. Of course, I also learned a lot through the pitching, because my team, right, we have problems to identify the problem statement. So we took quite a long time to identify the problem statement. So I still remembered that I think maybe 3 to 4 days before the pitch day, right, we only finalize our problem statement. So we have a rather short period of time to churn out our proposal, come up with the business proposal, do the a little bit of research, like, you know, the industry research about that area. So then, of course, we have to burn a bit of midnight oil to complete that proposal. Yeah.
Indeed. Yeah. For those who know what burning midnight oil is, that is to double down on extra time, and put in the hours. Now, before we proceed, Gina and Fang, are there any questions from the viewers?
No, not just yet. And look, guys, on Facebook or watching this Zoom live, if you got any pressing questions, please share them on chat.
Okay. Well, while we're waiting for for questions to come in, let's go to the second phase, of the question. Right? I think the whole purpose of today's webinar is on how do you transition into fintech, right, from whichever industry that you're in. So I'd like to get some of your views and some of your experience. Has the course helped you to either refresh, strengthen, or even give you the confidence, and just to have the understanding, right? And then from there, perhaps you can share what are those one or two things that you felt were really useful. Amajit, I can see you're ready to go already.
Well, I guess as I put it earlier on, it's a very good refresher, right? Like for myself, having retired and then starting a new business on consulting after retirement. So I found it that 1 month was very good in making sure that I'm now up to speed on different areas, particularly around compliance. What are the new theories, or the new way of everyone is looking around EKYC, as well as not just looking at compliance from a customer perspective, but going a lot more deeper, right? And at the same time, other areas that I've never really focused on, like crypto, was something that was entirely new for me, because I always thought, oh, crypto is something that that I wouldn't be able to understand, right? I understand the physical world, I understand paper, and I understand money that's being exchanged, but everything that is suddenly digital around crypto, that was a very interesting session, because it sort of opened up a lot of different ways of looking at financial services. And I guess the other main area would be things around InsurTech, right? That how the way we have always looked at our insurance policies can be entirely changed and made so micro for different customer segments. So those were some very interesting areas for me in terms of making sure I'm now up to speed on what's happened in the industry.
Yeah,
right?
that's very insightful. Yeah. And for Michelle, since you're with the association of banks, right? Have you flipped the spear around and start questioning those under the association, based on the new knowledge that you have acquired, Michelle? You're on mute, by the way, Michelle. Yeah.
Sorry. I can't speak for the association for now, but definitely there's a lot of background work done behind the scene by the banks. They're very much actively seeking ways to basically get into the digital platform and all that by partnering with the fintech companies and all that. I'm sure it's an exciting time ahead, given that digital banks also coming into play. Coming from a banking background myself, I am excited to see how fintech as a key enabler to drive innovation and digital transformation to reshape the way financial services are delivered to consumers. And I believe fintech will continue to play a greater part to, as in the disruptive new norm post-COVID, accelerating the digital shift, not only in the banking sector, but also in other sectors such as education, entertainment services, and many more.
Good. Wow, very, very holistic. Well, we have a few questions coming in, and I'm going to see who's going to volunteer. So I think we have a question from Robin Yong. Is fintech for the young? Let's divide the room into two parts, and now have Azam, Julia, and Majid. Comment a bit on this, and then I have the rest of the room chip in. Azam,
Definitely not.
Oh, who's going to go first?
I'll go first. I think Amajit's right. It's definitely not just for the young. I think it's really whether you want to get into it. Fintech is something which I think, without realizing, we're already involved in it. I mean, for example, if you're using GrabPay or Boost, that's fintech. If you're buying shares or unit trusts through StashAway or gold through Hello Gold, that's fintech. And it's something which, as a daily thing, it's something which everyone's gonna eventually use. I do think, though, if you want to get into it as, let's say you want to start, let's say, for example, if I wanted to start a fintech company, I know I can't do it on my own. I would need a strong CTO, because unfortunately you have to have a strong tech guy, and they tend to be a bit younger. They tend to be a bit younger than my age. But you know, in terms of ideas or business development, all that one is all anyone. I mean, that's, you know, whether you're 30 or 60, that's still business. That's, yeah, but you know, there's a lot of fintech already going on, and you know, it really makes things a lot easier, which is great. I think one thing I realized during the course was, I mean, my exposure to fintech, in a way, before that was probably when I attended what I think was the SC by SC talk in exhibition in 2018, where I kind of was exposed to ECF and P2P. So that's what I was thinking about fintech. But during the course, then you find out about InsurTech, eKYC, etc. But if you think about it, that is just insurance with a tech angle. That's just KYC with a tech angle. It makes things easier, but we've known about KYC since what? In my case, since 2004. So that's already been around for quite a while. So yeah, that's what I can say for that.
Thank you. What about Julia? Since you're in the fintech industry yourself, right? Perhaps you can give everybody here a little bit of context. Is it really truly only for the young?
I would say that it is not, given the amount of time I've spent in the banking space. How I ended up branching out is also because in a bank, I was involved in doing correspondent banking due diligence. And we see a lot of banks, because of the regulatory pressure that they were under and also the fines that they got, started to exit from, or we call it de-risking from the, how do I see it? The deemed higher risk population, and most of them tend to be the underdeveloped or developing countries. And so these are the people in the countries that are most impacted, right? And given the exposure or experience that I have in the compliance and financial crime compliance space, I felt that it would be people like us that that would be in a good position to support the fintech industry as they continue to be the platform to facilitate financial inclusion. So I'll call that from this perspective, right? Probably from my Maslow hierarchy of needs, I'm at that self-actualization phase of my life. Definitely, fintech is just not just for the young.
Interesting. Well, before we move to the other note, we have another question that came in from Carlene, Warren, Daniel. What are the prerequisites to qualify, right? I believe this is a question directed to Fort Ninja. Perhaps Fang or Jenna, could you come on board to quickly help us sort this one out first while we move to the rest. Fang, over to you.
Thank you. There are no prerequisites, and I guess that's the major misconception about joining fintech, and particularly for our school. You can see we've got engineers, we've got software developers, we got a full-time student in February coming all the way from Indonesia. We got a business consultant, entrepreneur in the form of Jean Charles, and really what makes us, I guess, quite interesting is the diversity, and we want to remove those barriers. We want to make fintech something which is very, very normal in a household, so that people can understand. I think a lot of people understand things like they've heard about cryptocurrency and a bit of Bitcoin, and they may have heard of terms like EKYC and decentralized finance, but they don't really know what it is and what its application is. And so this is a 1-month crash course to either polish up what you already know or to expand on the different aspects of fintech, which is ever growing and really, really quick in that area. Or if you're a complete novice in it and you want to jump in, just I guess register your interest. Siwin has shared the registration link over there, and yeah, I think maybe we can hear from someone from the floor on what was that prerequisite and what helped them overcome that prerequisite, right? Joyce, did you have any ideas on that?
I don't think you have any prerequisites. It's just a matter of your interest to learn, really. And because like just now, as I mentioned, as the class goes on, you can actually just have a quick Google search.
Google your way.
So you can just Google your way. Google is the best teacher, but Google sometimes is just too wide that you are just lost in a pool of information. So the class itself helps in terms of narrowing down the key facts, the key items that's actually ongoing outside over there in the fintech industry. And then from there, you get actually a starting point, and then whatever you're interested in, Google will actually help you guide you.
Thank you. That is indeed very, very insightful. We have another question coming in from Ida Mock, and it's like this one I'm going to direct to the non-finance, non-fintech individuals. Can you share how many of you applied? How many of you have applied what you've learned going forward in your vocation? Perhaps Liang Jie, Jean, even February, and the rest, right? Please feel free to jump in.
Okay, let me start.
Yeah.
So I think it's hard to say because there are so many subjects, but I think for sure most of us have like 1 or 2 main classes that we have been, let's say, favoriting. On my side, I learned a lot on EKYC and the target that apps and governments have to be able to identify people and be able to do quick transaction and do quick check on identities of people before proceeding to some actions. And this is something great because that's going to help a lot of verification processes in many kind of apps, insurance, banking. And if you tell me about another thing, it was about all these new apps and these wallets that are going to help us to save a lot of discounts, to apply for quick loans. We can also have robots who are going to help us to trade and make earnings. I think that's what I would recall from the class. And of course, after the important part is based on your field, because on my side, I'm in entrepreneurship, but I guess people who have, let's say, a classic bank job or who are inside a big institution, I guess they have been happy with learning a lot on entrepreneurship and fundraising. And it was great for that to also have different groups which made some pitch. And the pitch have also helped us to see that every one of us was able to pitch a new idea, a new project in FinTech. And I think that's where we have learned the most, because we have tried to apply the concept from the class into something practical, which is a project which we would like to actually really create. And for some of us, maybe it will become real. I don't know.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Liang Jie,
Yeah, yes, definitely benefited a lot to me. I mean, for this InfoTech school, especially I learned about the red tags and also the details of regulations, AML, KYC, and those stuff. And it's actually helping me a lot in communication with my users. And so requirement, because finance really involve a lot of regulation and so on. So they believe you won't smoke them. Okay. And some more and since you are we know about all the jargons and relate on compliance things, so it's easy to communicate. And some more after that, once and also the user and compliance, they might not know everything. So in fact, because we, aside from just learning the traditionals of compliance and regulations, I mean, these fintechs actually giving us others exposures, especially apply of technology. So in fact, I actually sharing with them as well, how can we improve our process, the traditional compliance, and how can we transform and make it digitalized.
Interesting. Julia, I think you are like the most, Joyce, sorry. I think you're the most removed from FinTech in your day-to-day job, right? No, do you see any of this being useful for you other than the burning desire to learn new things?
I think it's tough for me to actually put into practice right now because I do not have the power to make it happen. So yeah.
Would you be considering a move or a shift? Okay, no, I hope your bosses are not here. But yeah, now after attending the course, does it trigger you to say, hey, maybe I'll give it a try or something like that?
It will be part of one of the choices there is out there. Yeah.
Good. Yeah. And do you think that it has helped you perhaps even understand and know what you're getting yourself into?
Yeah, I think as a layman, this is actually serving as a platform to actually understand what is basically like the products that's out there. So it's more of you to understand what's going behind the scenes, really. It's like for example, one example would be that if let's say they give you the product and you have to go through all those verification processes, it's not just a tick box exercise, it's because of the various reasons behind it.
Great. And Fabri, what about yourself?
As for me, I think if it's it's really helpful, and it's not really practicing, but I learn more about compliance this day, or I'm got too familiar with all like the terms in fintech. And as I know, because Indonesia now, like so many fintechs around that have been like coming out new or like something like the more innovation. So, and I can like learning something like from others friends colleague to if they want to learn about Indonesian regulatory in fintech, I can help. So I can ask my friend who work in like Indonesian bank and like financial service to ask about what they asking me, and because I already have like so many not so many. I have like background, some background from the E-Fintech school with InfoTech school, so I can ask what should they do if they want to enter the market in Indonesia. So it helps me to really broaden my knowledge on fintech, especially to for now it's just helping other friends to help them about Indonesian, because it's kind of hard maybe for them, and all like more of the regulation mostly is not that stable, not really how to say that, not really
Not fully
compact,
developed. Okay.
and
Yeah.
still like so many terms have to be added from the Indonesia, so they need to catch up with the recent updated news from the government itself. So it's really helpful for now.
Thank you. No, thank you very much, February. I'm going to ask a trick question. There's this question from one of the audience. I'm going to see if everybody was paying attention during the 4 weeks. Which different aspect of fintech is covered in this course? I'm just going to go around the room. Each one will cover 1 week. Okay. I'll start with Michelle. What was covered in week 1? Oh, you're on mute, by the way. No, perhaps.
It's TechFin and FinTech.
TechFin and FinTech. Valerie, mind elaborating what TechFin and FinTech is? Yeah, this is going to be fun.
Oh, I thought that you say week 1. I thought week 1 is focused on payments.
Ooh, okay. Perhaps you're on different cohorts, right? No,
Yeah,
Michelle and Valerie.
Ones, yeah.
Yeah. So I think just to help the audience there to who are a little bit confused there, the group from Fort Ninja are continuously refining and making the courses more compact, and based on the inputs from the previous cohorts and everyone, and then they then refine. So that's the one thing that's so beautiful about the course, is that they're not very fixed in, and this is how we do it, and then this is going to be a cookie cutter approach, and then we keep replicating it across for all the cohorts, right? So I think as you can tell from cohort to cohort, the courses do change and vary slightly, but I think they do cover some of the more general ones. Now, for example, Amajit, would you like to share on week 2?
Well, I know first week was definitely payment. Second,
So you're in the same group as Valerie, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, same group as Valerie. So we covered. We had a good session from GHL, sharing not just the experience of GHL Malaysia, but you also had GHL rep from Thailand as well as Philippines, providing different perspectives of what's happening within the wallet space in each of the countries, and the pace of innovation that's going on in the different countries. And I think that was one of the key learnings that we got from this whole program, that most of the time we are so used to knowing what's happening in Malaysia, that with this program, we're actually seeing a lot more about what's happening regionally. And for some of the topics, having people coming in from different countries, being able to discuss, and you realize that a lot of the issues within fintech are still similar. It still boils down to how are you providing the customer the best experience and addressing the customer's needs, right? And what was equally coming out was the fact that in each industry, every industry seems to have different perspectives of pain points that the customer is facing, and not necessarily that one solution would fit all.
Interesting.
I think the other learning that was very important to me was the fact that things didn't just stop with the end of the 4 weeks, right? I know like our group has a very active WhatsApp group, and we also have been conducting
self-learning.
So not just self-learning, but the whole group then gets together on a topic, right? Like we had one session with Vijay just talking about buy now, pay later.
Wow, okay, that's one of the new things.
During the course, we probably may have just touched on it, but then you find that one of the participants really spends a whole 2 hours, and we had a whole session on it. And we had another session on cryptocurrency with just one of our participants acting as the tutor now, right?
So it's very interesting, right? That it's not only learning from the coaches and the tutors, who are from the industry, but also because all of you are also experienced. You all bring some knowledge or some experience from where you work from, right? And I believe also a part of not just the usual curriculum and syllabus that they cover, the exchange of knowledge and information, and then setting up this smaller groups where then you teach each other the cooler things, and like Julia said, right, 4 weeks is equivalent to 5 years of intensive learning. But yeah, Julia, you have anything to share?
Yeah, actually, I would say that if you say what was covered, you cover RegTech, SupTech, FinTech, TechFin, core banking systems. There's even blockchain. There was a talk about blockchain analytics and transaction monitoring on the cryptocurrency space. There was, I mean, these are some of my favorite, and then there's even a discussion about personality profiling to help us to understand our teammates better, with what colors you are, the yellow, red, blue, and white, and how we can, I think overall, the whole program was a personal development on its own, because it's not just about all the technical knowledge, but also, the soft skill as well. And we had a speaker who came in to teach us, or rather gave us tips on how to beef up our LinkedIn profile. So,
wow.
These are some of the interesting stuff that we learned.
Any of you in the room would like to add, before we move to the other questions? I'm going to open this up a little bit. No? Okay. Michelle, yeah, you were going to say something, sorry.
Yeah, in terms of the content, I just want to do a quick run through
Yes, please.
in a very structured manner. Basically, for the first week, we learned about FinTech, which covers payments, P2P financing, digital banks, InsurTech, and also Islamic finance. And second week is basically on TechFin. The areas covered include basically the business models such as transport, social media, e-commerce, entering FinTech. And third week basically is on the technology side, covering cybersecurity, open API, data, and blockchain. And on the fourth week is basically on the leadership perspective for startup, and which covers intrapreneurship, investment, startup, and scale up. And the last week basically is our graduation week, where all the teams will have to do their pitching. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I already feel like Joyce, where I nearly had to Google some of these terminologies to try to catch up with what was being taught. But I can imagine, right, Azam, and I think you're gonna say something.
Yeah, maybe I can say something. I mean,
yeah.
I think that something I learned in the 4 weeks is, one, first of all, the speakers are of course all industry experts. These are people who are very knowledgeable and they do it day to day. But the thing is, they don't talk to you as if you're already in the industry. So a lot of it is they're almost like starting from scratch. But it's quite amazing that 2 hours can actually fly by quite fast. And usually the presentation might be, depending, 45 minutes, an hour and a half, or whatever. And what happens is, depending on who is in your group, the questions, because some will be newbies like me, so of course we're not really into the industry, but there might be some others who are also in the industry, and they start asking probing questions, which suddenly the detail becomes very in depth. So which is great, you suddenly realizing, hey, there's so much more than this, and you want to research it. But also there's a bit where you might end up being lost. but the thing is, I mean, we finished in December. Since December, we've had, as Amjad said, we've been having our own groups, but it's really a tip of the iceberg, this program. It's really how much you want to go in. go into further into blockchain or follow up with digital banking or even explore setting up a fintech yourself. These are things that you can always look at. I've seen this school as something that really opened my eyes to the whole industry, which is pretty wide. And then it's really up to you on how deep you want to go in, whether you want to go into the ECF side, the P2P side, the other aspects of it. And yeah, I mean, definitely, for example, I think definitely blockchain, I've been convinced is the future, as long as the governments are
big
on board with
statement.
that. Yeah, let's see what happens. Yeah, thanks.
Anyone else in the room would like to add on? Oh
Okay,
yes,
just to
Lianjie,
add on a
please.
bit on what Michelle and Julia shared earlier on our cost structures. I think we also covers like ESG, and also
ESG,
cost, and robo advisory, insure tax, and so on. And I think the most interesting part is the interactive sections in the class. And aside from that, we do also have like a sections for debating on the we are provided with use case and asking form of two teams to debate on one of the problem statements and how actually we create that part is involved related to regulatory.
Interesting that you touch upon regulatory. Now we have a question again from Ida Mok. It says, for those in traditional compliance and regulatory aspects, did the course challenge your mindset and approach in this developing and nascent space, and how? Wow. Let me direct it to Amajit and start from her, and then we move across the room slowly.
I think it probably got us thinking a lot more on not just the fact that there is regulations, but also having that entire understanding of why are those regulations there and what is the objective of those regulations. And I think someone like Una really opened our eyes in terms of the entire AML and compliance perspective of things. And now that digital banking is going to be the next in thing, not just in Malaysia. If you look at it, virtually every regulator is looking at digital banking. It's going to change how everyone looks at regulations, because now you will have to look at a lot more different customer segments, bringing this whole concept of financial inclusion. And at the same time, cybersecurity is going to be another big challenge to it. So I think that's where the whole, it forces you to rethink the objective of regulators, but what's equally coming across would be that, and particularly the session that we had, one of the lecturers shared the latest updates from MAS on how MAS is now looking at governance and culture and the role of how culture should be, and incentive payments that banks are even designing, right? So it's the role of the regulators is also changing.
Yeah, just for the insight of for information to everybody, the MAS that Majid referred to is not Malaysian Airlines, by the way. It's the Singapore Monetary
Authority of Singapore.
Monetary Authority of Singapore, yes. Okay, but thank you. No, maybe we should ask a lawyer. No, what does she think? No, Valerie, no.
Perhaps not from regulatory perspective. So what makes me think again and again, right, is more like the efficiency of executing a transactions. Like for example, right, for a bond issuance transaction. So because there are a lot of multiple parties involved in that transactions, and most of the time bonds is a long-term paper. Like for example, it could be a 20 years program, 30 years program. So then there are a lot of stakeholders. So the entire process, right, bond issuance process from origination, execution, distributions, and post-trade, right, is very complex. So I'm just thinking that why can't we just have a single platform to gather all the information, so all the multiple parties involved in the transactions, right, will have the same piece of informations, and then also throughout the life cycles of the bonds.
Great that you brought up this point. I'm gonna direct this to Liang Jie and ask him from a technical perspective. Is this doable, Liang Jie?
Sorry again. What's the questions about?
Well, Valerie was just explaining to us, that in the bonds and the transaction of bonds in the bonds market, there are too many silos and too many stakeholders in between, right? So to transact, the velocity and the requirements, to move from one part to the other, it's always so inefficient, right? If I'm getting you correctly, Valerie, and she's thinking that there's some way that we can do it more effectively, right? In addressing this from a
Is there any single platform just for all the parties involved in the transactions, right? Just use that single platform to transact, to trade the bonds and also communicate.
Yeah, I'm not going to go to Azam because I know the answer from him, so I'm going to go to Liang Jie.
Right. So I guess for regarding to this kind, the common answer should be blockchain, right?
Oh, man.
yeah. So okay, whether is it? I think everyone is trying it. I see a lot of companies. I mean, even the authorities, regulators, they're actually trying to look into how can we applying this blockchain to smoothen the transactions and make it seamless and make it more efficient, so that transactions can be done immediately rather than just T+1 due to the settlements between the countries or maybe between the banks. Yeah, so I guess this is possible, but it definitely needs some time because regulations, right? Okay, yeah. So I guess it still can do it, but I think we should start. Get to know a bit of this kind of blockchains, this kind of technology. So by the time it's ready, all the things are set up, then it can onboard anytime. No need to wait anymore.
So from your personal point of view, how far are we from a technological point of view? I know Julia is going to come in. I'm going to ask on compliance first later, but let's ask Liang Jie on how ready are we from a technology standpoint? Are we still beginning, or we're actually there, or no, we're past the first hype cycle and going into the long tail already? If you understand, have seen the hype cycles by gardeners.
I see a lot of peoples and companies, or maybe the fintechs, are trying out. They propose solution, and I also see a lot of consulting firms doing this kind of applying these blockchains into a lot of use cases. I think it's around almost there. Yeah, just that whether because this also need a lot of parties in. So might need some. I think the other important thing is education. You need to educate people to understand the whole technology, so people will be willing to use it. Yeah. So the last mile probably is just education.
Yeah. So with this, I'm gonna go back to Julia now, since she's the compliance officer here. And first, you can share a little bit from your experience.
That question was planted, I would say.
It's not me. It's not me.
I would say that technology continues to change, and we together, I believe the regulators as well, we continue to chase after innovation and creativity in this space. I would one thing that really popped out is that the fundamentals remain the same. that we still need to prevent bad people from making use of whatever system that we have, whether it's decentralized finance, whether it's blockchain, whether it's using the crypto. Fundamentals are the same. We will have to continue to develop those systems that will also, well, that justifies our existence, creating jobs, right? And artificial intelligence. Okay, that story for another time. So I would say that compliance is not just about ticking the box. It's not just about complying with what the regulators say, but compliance has to be a culture. With that in mind is how we can continue to progress with innovation. So that will be my answer.
Thank you very much. Anyone who would like to add any more comments? Azam, perhaps. I know you've been eager, but yes.
I don't know, not much. I mean, like I said, yes, I think blockchain is the future. I think with 5G coming, technology will be a lot faster, a lot more efficient, and a lot of things can be done in the cloud in that sense. And we'll see a lot of things happening. I mean, definitely digital banking is the future in the sense of underserved and unbanked and underbanked, is of course the target market. But even like I just telling a friend the other day, I can't remember, I hardly use cash now. Even if I go to a 7-Eleven, it's a Boost or GrabPay. If I buy online, it's an app. If I go to the supermarket, it's a credit card wave of some sort. So in a way, if you think about a world where there's no cash, there's a lot of savings there. You know, the security companies that need to transport cash and all that. Your salary goes straight to your bank account. Your bank account then is used to pay whatever payments. And I mean, cashless society is something definitely in the future. I think, you know, I think that's great. You know, maybe not quite answering your question, but that's
it's for the crowd.
Yeah.
You know, and tapping onto your cashless society, right? And I'm going to ask the bankers here. Feel free to chip in. With the velocity of settlement, right? You know, in a cashless society, do you think it's gonna bring in more growth? Help the economy, or why are so many governments still reluctant, right? So even I don't have the answer, so I'm going to ask it back to the audience, to the panel. Can anyone help me with this question?
So coming to this whole topic of cashless payments, I guess we're still probably 5 to 10 years away from being totally cashless. There will be still segments of the society that will prefer to have banknotes for some reasons or other that's best known to them. The one thing that everyone's always concerned about a cashless is that now everything is a digital trail, right?
Yeah.
That you'll be able to figure out who paid to whom. But I think what is changing is the way everyone perceives cashless transactions. It's not just the wallet, it's also physical infrastructure that the banks have, right? Like how can you make the ATM machine, for example, to become so multi-functional that's not just dispensing cash, but it can effectively be doing a lot of your other banking services, or for that matter, your mobile app or your phone, right? It literally replaces your whole walk to the branch.
Yes.
But
yeah, I couldn't remember when was last time I went to a bank, by the way. But yes.
So it's going to, of course, change. And I think that's where the biggest challenge a lot of financial institutions are still going to have. How do you relook at the jobs that you have in an organization, right? Some jobs, and especially after COVID-19 and work from home, some things should become redundant. Some jobs would have to evolve. And more importantly, there'll be a lot of learnings. People need to be reskilled. not just in technology, but also different cultures, right? Even this whole culture of working from home, how does the role of a HR change in terms of making sure there's still engagement, communication, and everyone knows on what's going on in an organization.
Indeed.
Right.
Thank you. And yeah, I'm gonna move it to Fabry, and ask her, in her part of the world, how does a cashless society look like in Jakarta, right? Are you in Jakarta right now? Yeah, no. For those
Yeah,
who have
I'm
not been
in
there.
Jakarta.
So
Right.
so how does your everyday life look like? Just curious.
Every day, yeah, I think most of now millennials and others trying to use cashless more often because of the first, you know what? First of because of the promo.
The
So,
promo, okay.
yeah, the company is still burning their cash until now to acquire new customer, acquire the other customer from the other company. So yeah, they just like keep trying to get to lead the cashless industries in Jakarta and Indonesia, of course. And so that they have to make some free stuff to the user, right? So yeah, we use every single cashless from any kind of company in our app. I think I have so many kind of apps in my phone. So if they have offer some good like paybacks or some free stuff or discount, and I can just choose and then use that use the money. And I think most of us now, after we got salary, all of our money is like split into different account on that company, and then we can use all of the free stuff from them. So that's what I think most of Indonesians do these days. We don't think about the loyalty yet. We just think about who are
Incentives.
the incentive, who can give us as a customer best one. Yeah, that's
Very, very interesting. I'm gonna ask the same question to Joyce. Do you split all your cash and salaries into the multiple wallet apps that you have in Malaysia?
No, so I top up as I go along. So I top up based on because you can top it up based with your credit card. So as and when how much we need, then I'll top it up. Because I don't see the benefits of putting all the money there. I might as well put it in the stock market, whereby
Wow, this is
let's
more aggressive.
let's do something interesting there.
yeah. But actually not all, but just some, like maybe like 30% you can just put all of on your e-wallet and stuff, and the rest is just whatever. But yeah, at least this day you still have that amount of account and that amount of money for your own e-wallet. I think in my opinion, Indonesia. Thank you.
Thank you both. Jean, are you still here? Okay, he might not be, but anyway, this is a question from SF Tan. It says, any idea where Asia Pacific in embracing fintech, comparing to the more developed countries such as USA? Who would like to go first? Julia, yes.
I can try that. Well, it really depends on which part of fintech you're talking about. If you're talking about the need basis, I see the payments, fintech relating to payments to be growing like mushrooms in the developing countries and regions like in Southeast Asia, China, as well as India and Africa even. I've seen really strong growth coming from Africa. You're talking about blockchain and crypto, the most active country is definitely US. So that would be my take on where fintech is.
But you see the SEC clamping down on all these other crypto companies right now. So is it really that receptive, or no? I don't know. Anybody who has a good view or insight as to what's happening over there in that part of the world?
I don't think the regulators can control that for too long. coming from the working group that is championing cryptocurrencies, I would say that the more they clamp down on it, it will drive them underground. And this is something that we are also very, very, how do I say it? We are also talking to the regulators to say, don't make it illegal because it will only turn it into a black market. So let's see how that goes.
Thank you. Thank you. Azam, any views on this?
Okay, not much in the sense that I'm not in fintech myself, so I'm not really following.
Yeah, but from an observer's point of view, I think none of us are really in fintech except for Julia.
I think the bankers are basically following where the money is. They're seeing they were probably a few months ago, a few years ago, were not into crypto, not into Bitcoin, not into all these digital currencies. But now, because so much wealth is there, and people like Elon Musk and all that are going into it, they've also opened portfolios for that. So in a way, as more people get accepted or accept the concept of it, then it becomes mainstream. But in terms of the economics behind it, I think there's still quite a gray area in terms of value of digital currencies, etc., etc.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Gina, you want to say something?
Yeah, I'm not sure whether anyone heard about this, but Visa has allowed transaction on cryptocurrency right now officially. So that's very, very recent. And I think that will allow, FIs to also continue using cryptocurrency. And I think, of course, in different countries in APAC, there are also cryptocurrency exchanges regulated by the regulators. So I think that's going to be very encouraging. So that includes, Australia, I think Singapore as well, if I'm not wrong, Julia, and also Malaysia. Thailand as well is quite forward-looking. Japan and Korea as well.
So I guess the question from SF Tan is, comparing Asia Pacific and USA, right? So I think which areas that we are really embracing fintech. But anyway, it's not a trick question. Now it's
okay, so maybe I can add on. I think US is very state regulated. So there are certain states that embrace cryptocurrency. So I think in APAC, what's different is it's not based on state regulation. So in a way, when you look at even digital bank, APAC is embracing that even faster than the US. So when you get a digital bank, for example, in the US, it's going to be quite tough because you have to go state by state approval. Yep. And I think the other interesting one is the peer-to-peer financing. We got it up pretty fast as well in APAC. So that would be quite interesting.
Thank you, Gina. Well, a question from TW Poon to all the panelists, right? After E-Fintech school, what's next? Wow, loaded question. We will start with Michelle. Michelle, what's next?
Maybe I can. Okay, go ahead, Michelle.
Go ahead first. Go ahead first. No
she needs to think about it first. Julia, come. Let's.
I'm really excited to talk about it. Actually, after E-Fintech school, there is still E-Fintech school.
Betul.
Between the first and second cohort so far, we have what we call continue to do the networking session, and we continue to build our knowledge sharing as well. We call it continuous professional development within the whole network, learning from each other, because a lot of us come from different backgrounds, and so that learning doesn't stop post the school. And in fact, I think because the school got us to be very curious about certain topics, say, for example, buy now, pay later, or business payment service provider, that was not given in-depth cover during the course of 1 month. We have actually gone to speak to some of our cohort members that are experts in this area, or to conduct classes for us post E-Fintech school. So it's like you don't stop learning.
Interesting. Valerie, what's next?
Just join in the fintech community. So just learning and growing together because fintech is evolving so rapidly. So I'm sure that, every now and then you will have a new updates.
Great. And the alumni is pretty strong. No, I know. I'm amongst some of them, although I'm not a participant. But yeah, it's very, very interesting. Michelle, yes, no.
Yeah. The school actually basically is really an eye opener for myself, and it has actually really expanded my learning horizon. I believe in, like what Julia said, is not just first cohort, second cohort. We will continue learning from each other, from the community, from the school, and we will help each other to grow and learn together.
Thank you. Thank you. Amajit.
I think what has changed for me after the whole program, number one, after I finished the program, I just felt, oh, if only I was 20 years younger.
Fintech indeed is for the young. Well, it makes you younger at least. Yes.
No, there's so much that I could redo in terms of my career.
It's never too late, right?
Yeah, but also I think what has now broadened for me is the fact that I keep a lookout for all the different webinars, and I sort of listen to them and keep abreast of all the changes that are happening. Where previously you'd have thought, oh, never mind, you are just doing a job, you know roughly what you're doing, right? Now it's, after going through the school, you realize that what you did is only a small bit of the knowledge that you needed to have. There's so much out there that you should be looking to for your own self-improvement, right? And the other part of it is also you find yourself thinking a lot more about giving back, right? That how can you help in some way or the other, not just the participants in terms of the program itself, but looking at how else can you give back in terms of mentoring or even some of the smaller startups. What can you do in helping them, right?
Yeah, and yeah, that's the most interesting part, right? No, it's yeah, no, as Julia said, no, moving up the Maslow hierarchy,
Right.
What about February, Lianje, and Joyce? Adele?
Yeah, maybe I share a bit.
Yes,
so
please.
I think, yeah. So after the E-Fintech school, yeah, things that we always there not. I mean, there are a lot of continual learning happens after the E-Fintech school. We do form a communities, and also we help one another within the groups. So I would like to share a bit of how we did. And actually, we after the E-Fintech school, we set up a groups. And aside from that, actually our alumni are come from different countries. One from Malaysia, the other groups are actually from Singapore. So we do have like weekly, monthly meetups, okay, and hang out and have a coffee chat to share our thoughts and also experience the challenges that we face from our works. And also we do supporting each others, like for example, like someone's have facing a roadblocks on doing continuing their business or something. We also helping out to help them to lies down, kneel down to the problems and give advice to them. So aside from that, just now I also share a bit in our class, online class, we do have a debate sessions, right? I mean, even after E-Fintech school, we do have a debate inside the WhatsApp group.
Still debate.
Keep happens, yeah, keep happens, and when debating on the business models and buy now pay later. A lot of voice from different peoples from different perspective. Yeah. So and other than that, we do also celebrate people's success in their career switch or maybe their business. Some of them are actually entrepreneur. yeah, we do celebrate with them as well.
Yes, speaking about celebrating, I think some of you even develop friendships where you are celebrating birthdays together. All right.
Yeah,
No.
yeah.
And February,
I think, yeah, I'm really agree with Liang Jie. We helping each other, like for like maybe some of us like making a business or just expand their business, or even like their colleagues also help. I need our help. So it's like we have more like broader connection as well. And also maybe as for me, I might work in fintech area as well. And because I already have some background, even though it's not really maybe something that I'm not really know so deeply yet, but still I already have some background of fintechs. So I think it could be like me, like new journey, new like some challenge, waiting for me and for others. And yeah, I think that's it. That's and as for me.
yeah. Thank you, February and Liang Jie. No, I would like to echo.
One more.
Oh, sorry, please. Sorry to cut you short.
Sorry. And after and I think by doing the fintech after the Fort Ninja, you also know many regulation from other different countries, because during the pitch you need to know, like if you want to kick off your company or your startup, you need to know all the regulations. So it's hard. As for me, I need to read all the stuff for Malaysia, and because my team is going to promote the so-called like our company, our startup in Malaysia. So I need to know all the stuff from Malaysia. So it's really good to learn that.
Yeah, thank you. And just to echo on that, right? No, some of the audience actually asked, on geographical location, who and where can you participate? The program itself it's a virtual online program. So technically, as long as the time zone fits, you can balance, the time zones well. I believe, some join from as far as Canada, and in Europe. While I think the majority of the participants are still from Southeast Asia, from Asia Pacific. I know, but yeah, I think the diversity is something that the team from Fort Ninja will be looking into, not just diversity in terms of a male and female, but diversity in country, diversity in thoughts, diversity in thinking. So I think that brings the richness in the debates that Liang Jie has, right? If everybody were to agree, then there's nothing to debate. Then there's nothing left to do, right? No, we just proceed, right? But Joyce, let's start with you. We have 20 minutes left. What is that one thing that you want the audience to bring home, right? We'll start from you, Joyce.
One thing from the school, is it?
From the school, yeah.
I think one thing would be to keep continuously learning, because everything keeps changing. So learning never stops, really.
Thank you. Yeah. That's very insightful. Julia, I'm just going to follow my screen. All your screens are different, but just go with Julia.
I agree with what Joyce has said about, things change too fast, and they continue to change. So I would say keep learning, growth mindset, stay curious. We'll have a lot of fun.
Interesting. Yeah. Well, sometimes unstructured learning, it's more fun than going to classrooms and going for exams. February, what is that one thing that you would like, your audience, maybe all the audience in Indonesia to bring home?
I think you should just less worried, just keep trying, but you need to stay focused, because you don't this not only for you got the certificate or you got the connection, but the main thing was you get the knowledge. So you during the program you really have to pay attention on the class. So that's what's the the
Minimum requirements, right?
Yeah,
You have to stay focused.
Yeah, stay focused. So yeah. So after graduated, you get the knowledge and dip into your brains.
Thank you, Fabri. And Valerie, I will move to you. You're next on my screen. One
Just
key takeaway.
just keep learning, because I would see fintech is the way forward. So just keep learning and keep abreast with the development in fintech industry.
Thank you. Liang Jie, you're next.
Yeah, maybe for those that who just started their career, or maybe wanted to know more in fintechs, my advice, my takeaways would be, it might be overwhelmed for you at first, I mean at the start, but I believe that eventually, I mean after the class, even one sentence or one words could actually change your life.
Wow, very, very deep. Thank you, Liang Jie. Amajit, one word or one sentence can change your life.
My advice would be grab the opportunity, register for the program. You'll really have fun. You'll learn a lot. That 1 month will be worth it.
Yep. Well, and I love the energy, coming from yourself as well, right? Being so experienced already, and then you're still enjoying it, right? So it just proves testament to how exciting it is, and then how engaging the courses and then the sessions were, right? Michelle, you're still on mute, by the way.
Yeah. First of all, I must say that the program is definitely worth your time to invest in, given the tremendous insights and deep learning acquired from the many great gurus who are actually the industry players. For someone out there who is on the lookout for opportunities to upskill, reskill, prepare to pivot into the digital space, I would recommend you to go for it, because this actually the skills and knowledge required for the future workforce in the digital era. And I end to say that have a growth mindset, like what Julia said, regardless of your age, background, or even if you have zero knowledge of fintech, go for it.
Thank you. And last but not least, Azam.
I'm last, okay.
Yeah.
As I said earlier, I feel this course was just a tip of the iceberg. In the 1 month, you'll learn a lot or rather lots of different subjects, but it's not really too deep in the sense it's not very intense. And after the course, it's always really up to you on how much you want to go in. In my case, I don't mind saying, after the course, I try to meet up with some of the participants to find out a bit more the practical side. For example, if I wanted to get into blockchain, for example, how would I do it? How would I be on the practical side? How would I buy a cryptocurrency? I mean, I think just literally a month ago, I had no idea how to buy a Bitcoin, but I think last week I bought something.
That's good.
And I'm up 1%, I think.
Not too bad. Given the volatility, that's happening in the last couple of months, 1% is not too bad.
Well, that's easy. It's really up to you how much you want to go into, whether you want to look. Just after the course, we finished on 15th of December. Then Central Bank came out with the guidelines for the digital banking license on 31st. And partly because of the group, we're getting a lot of updates, from that. And it's interesting to see that so many players who want to come in. And I'm kind of following that space. And it'll be interesting to see who wins it, because sometimes it's not the banks that are going to win it. As you know, in Singapore, Singtel and Grab was one of the winners, which makes telcos being because of the data they have. They already have the
infrastructure laid.
They already have the target market in a sense.
Yeah.
So this course I felt was intense. I mean, in terms of you got to spend 3-4 nights a week into it. But like I said, most of the things you learn is something is really new and something that can be eye-opening. And it's really up to you how much you want to grasp it. Yeah, it was a great experience for me.
Thank you for sharing. Thank you everybody, the panelists, for your time, for spending valuable time, this evening. Fang, and Gina, do we have questions on Facebook Live, or no? We have a more controlled crowd over there.
No questions from there
interesting.
yet, but yeah.
Good. So I guess before we all leave, I'd like to say thank you everybody, for your time. It was definitely my pleasure spending the evening with you guys, learning and getting such a. Even I got excited. Maybe I want to join the next cohort, and be a student. I felt I missed out so many things, right? But yes, Fang and Gina, back over to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Zerhan, for making this a very enjoyable, relaxed sort of a get to know you, and to handle all the questions very, very elegantly. We are open for registrations of interests for our next batch of cohorts. So yeah, just click on the link that's available. What we will do is take a group picture as traditional for our E-Fintech school. So big smiles for the cameras, and we don't have Thomas and his cat here, so big smiles. Beautiful. Thank you so much, everyone. It's a wrap from here. Again, the E-Fintech